And that brings us to News Extra here on KNEB. And brought to you by Jolliffe Funeral Home. Here's Kevin Mooney.
Thank you, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to alert some of you folks that what you may have thought was fireworks last night about 11:30, quarter to 12, at least at our place in Gering, was actually rain. And it poured pretty good at our place for a while last night. So you might check your rain gauges, and if you see water out there, that's kind of what may have happened rather than just fireworks. Okay? All right, Jerry Lucas is here. And he's a ranger over at Scottsbluff National Monument, and of course working on this Hiram Scott research project. And you've told us about it before. Again, kind of clue us in on where you're at and where you've been here recently.
Well, I took a trip to Lincoln to do some research after I came across two names that were supposedly linked to being the escorts of Hiram Scott, who abandoned him. I came across these in an article written by Isabel Story, who is a National Park Service secretary, who wrote a pamphlet for the Park Service called Glimpses of Our National Monument. And one of the monuments she wrote about was Scotts Bluff, and she had these two names in there. And she cited a man named Grant Shumway as the source. Well, I went to Grant Shumway and I found his book, A History of Western Nebraska. And in looking through it and reading it, I came across the same two names. That's always a good thing, I guess. Then I came across three other names that were linked to finding the body. At that time, I decided I needed to find out what the source of this information was, because Mr. Shumway didn't include it in his book. So I called Lincoln and said, do you have manuscript files on Grant Shumway? And they said, oh yeah, we got Shumway files. So I thought, this is a good time to take a trip and go down and see what's in those files. Well, I went down there and they didn't have the manuscript files. So in that sense, the trip was unsuccessful, but I did learn how to use the Historical Society's online services. And I got a couple of other leads as places to look for Shumway's manuscript file, and also some other means that I can verify the information. So it wasn't a total failure.
All right. There's just not a lot of information out there about Mr. Scott, is there?
Well, if it's not where you think it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just trying to find out exactly what the story was with him, and why his body was found here and all that stuff. It's kind of difficult.
Yeah, it is. And also trying to find anything about his life before being in the fur trade. It would have been nice if somebody would have found a diary written by him, but unfortunately we haven't found that animal yet.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things you're going to do is from here you're going to go to maybe Pinedale, Wyoming later on this summer?
That's my hope. I really think that I can get a lot more information out of Pinedale, the Museum of the Mountain Men. They do have a fairly substantial archive about some of these men, and they do hold some of the records and diaries of some of the early traders and trappers. Men like, I don't know if they have Sublett's particularly, but men like Sublette and Campbell and some of the keys of that era.
Okay. All right. We'll be back with Jerry Lucas right after this.
Company personal. Jolliffe Funeral Home. Let Jolliffe Funeral Home help you honor those you love when you've passed. With unmatched service
We'll just
and
talk about
artistry,
the
our team will help
monument
you
here
carry
for a
on the
while.
legacy of your family members and friends. With over 100 years of experience, we offer professional and personal attention to every detail in the planning process. We also offer advanced planning as a continuation to our services. That's Jolliffe Funeral Home. Our family serving your family for 3 generations.
We are back on News Extra. Jerry Lucas is our guest. Of course, he's working on this Hiram Scott research project, and he kind of gave us an update. Went to Lincoln, thought he might find some documents that provide some more information, but not all that successful. But he's planning on going to Pinedale, Wyoming to do some more research at the Missouri Museum of the Mountain Men. And if people want to help you out, how do they do it?
Well, the Oregon Trail Community Foundation has taken the project on as a special interest for them. So if people want to donate, they can donate to the Oregon Trail Communities Foundation Hiram Scott Research Project at 115 Railroad Street, Scottsbluff, 69361.
All right, 115 Railway Street, Scottsbluff, 69361. Now, Jerry's a ranger out at the monument. Tell us how it's gone. A lot of visitors out there this year?
Well, we were discussing this last week, and it seems to everyone that our visitation is more steady and might be up just a little bit from last year, and we kind of think it's because of the weather this year, being a little cooler, and we have a lot more green than we did last year at this time. Last year we were experiencing 100, 110 degree temperatures already, and we think that's what kept people away last year.
So having the temperatures in the low 90s is a lot better than way up in the
Anything's cooler than it was last year.
Last year was, I agree, it was pretty bad. So, all right, very good. And you guys have had a lot of programs and all that kind of stuff, so it's worked out good.
Yeah, we have. We've had some really good responses to some of the programs. I think this week, I think we're having the Colorado Bird Sanctuary in to talk about birding. Last week we had, I believe it was Jim Hansen in talk about the Museum of the Fur Trade. In coming weeks, of course, Oregon Trail Weekend, we're not having a guest speaker, but after that, we're having one on the Horse Creek Treaty, and we've got our guest speakers doing a good job.
All right, very good. So get on out to the Scottsbluff National Monument if you can, and I know I haven't been up to the top of the monument in a while, so maybe that's something I want to do.
Yeah, it is. You do. It is beautiful up there. We have a lot of wildflowers that are in bloom that you don't always get to see unless you go up to the top. I've only been up there a couple of times just because we have a volunteer that's driving our shuttle now, so we don't get to go up there as often. But it is beautiful out there, and we've had a couple of reports of people actually being able to see Laramie Peak off to the west. It's 112 miles away, and it's been clear enough.
Yeah, okay. Jerry Lucas, our guest today on News Extra. We appreciate him coming in.
Thank you.